CMMS Radio talks about all things CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, focused on maintenance management. It's the people, the process, and the culture that make your CMMS journey a success. There he is, folks. If you don't know him, you really need to. That is Joe Anderson. He is with ReliabilityX, and lately he has just been storming the gates with insights and content. Sometimes it's a one-liner, and if you think about those things, you'll see him on LinkedIn and a few different places. If you really think about those things, you'll find out that they're not just breadcrumbs. They're clues to where you can really find the opportunity within your business, not just from a maintenance perspective, but from that top level, EBITDA, all of it, because everything we do in the world of maintenance, you might be a reliability professional like him, an engineer, all these things. It's about the business, the people within it, the people we serve, and all that kind of stuff. And today, he's out doing some work, and he made some time for me to jump on and chop it up a little bit about something that hit the internet, where I was saying, is this idea and concept of maintenance 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, is it a real thing? And we want to get into that. And just to frame it, Joe, first of all, welcome back to CMMS Radio, brother.
Thanks for having me, man. As always, it's a pleasure.
The reason I'm asking about it is, on one hand, there are stages and levels that an organization, a team, an individual can be going through. On the other hand, are those things really tied to the different technology advancements similar to industry 1.0 all the way up to 4.0? Because a lot of it feels like hype and a way to kind of polish up and make snazzy and jazzy these concepts of maintenance that we all know are just about the basics done extremely well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's it does look flashy and stuff, and I agree. But there's some deeper underlying things there as well. Yes, some of it is marketing for sure. And then, from a marketing perspective, I understand it. You got a business to run. You're trying to market yourself. I'm a business owner myself, so I understand it. What's the latest and greatest? But it's a little nuanced, but the industry the technologies help us advance in the industry. Okay. So you have 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and now they're even talking 5 or maybe even 6.0 at this point, because technology advances so much quicker than what it takes for us in the field to drive behavioral change. And so, but you have people that are at a different maturity level all over the spectrum, right? So, like, for example, if you're a mom and pop farmer and you were picking apples and it became popular because you have really good apples, and now you decide, well, more people want my apples, so I'm going to manufacture those apples, right? They're going to start out no technologies, very simple systems, maybe even like no CMMS system, no PM program. They don't even know how to take care of the equipment. They just know, I need to package apples and get them to the market, right? Yeah. And so these businesses go through phases. The top companies that are at those maturity levels, sure, they can take on all the advanced technologies and all that stuff. But it's not, you need to be here now or else type of thing. Right. And the other thing that is concerning is you've got people that have zero maintenance experience that are making up supposed maintenance terms and then trying to sell it like it's something that actually exists. And so, and I understand, again, from a marketing perspective, I get it. But at the same time, you don't understand while some of us are out here trying to teach people things, we're making up new words and creating a bunch of confusion. And I don't think it's intentional. I think they actually think they're doing a good job, but they're not helping at all. And so we have to combat that all the time, and so it kind of is what it is,
It kind of makes me think that, I mean, I've been through some of that when, like being part of a technology company where I was one of the owners, and we are wondering, what's the new thing now that everybody's paying attention to, and how can we be a part of that, but maybe not, and be very, very upfront about, we know this, and this, but this is where you guys are looking. It's a bit of a dance if you're caught in the middle on those two things, because if we're out here saying the truth, and as you've often shared, there's a lot of truth sayers, but they're not doing anything about it. Maybe they didn't do the work. It doesn't mean some of the things they're putting out and sharing aren't making an impact. What we're, I think, talking about is, are you leading people, unbeknownst to you, maybe you have no malintent, down the wrong path?
Yeah, I don't think anybody has malintent. I don't think that is what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Think, I want to be the next wave, right? And so we come up with terms and all the stuff and keep trying to be the hippest, newest thing, because that's what grabs attention, right? Marketing is all psychology. Right. And human behavior has a natural tendency to go towards trends. So if we create a new trend and it's hippity hoppity, everybody wants to jump on board, you know what I mean? So that's part of the marketing ploy, right? But the problem with that is we have standards, we have industry language, we have things that we use that actually mean something. And so when you're trying to rename something that already exists, or you're trying to, to me, if you don't know it well enough to teach it, you probably shouldn't put it out there. But at the same time, I don't want to knock anybody that's ambitious and might be new to all of this and discourage them either from putting stuff out, right? It's okay to be wrong. But my concern is that you have people that are designating themselves experts in a space they have no expertise in.
Here's a question about that, because I wrestle with that constantly when it comes to the things I talk about that I may not have actually done, but I'm blessed because I have a core group around me that has adopted me and said, hey, let me tell you what that means. Let me point to you and show you where that shows up. And hey, this is where it is on the balance sheet. And I start to kind of understand it. Mm-hmm. So I might want to say something that is actually true and real, mm-hmm. but I might not know that I've got a gap or two. And I think that's the same with everyone else, because people are building brands. They are trying to.
Okay, right. But again, it's there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when you've already tried to separate yourself as an expert and you know nothing about the space, right? That would be like me jumping on here and trying to talk to you about technology and IT and AI and IoT. Like, I know stuff about it and I use a lot of those tools and I've been a practitioner, using that stuff, but that's not my wheelhouse.
Right.
And so if I started jumping in and going, no, it's not really IoT, it's LMNOP, because LMNOP is cool. You know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why are we doing that? Like, you don't have to do that. Like, we call it IoT for a reason. I don't need to call it LMNOP just to try to be cool or different,
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Again, I don't want to discourage anybody. Like, I'm not trying to do that, but like, learn the language, try to become an expert in it. I don't know, man. It's like I said, it's nuanced, and I just don't want to discourage people either. So
yeah, and I'm kind of somehow I always ask you questions that can potentially get you in a lot of trouble.
I know,
And
man. And every one of these podcasts, I've realized I'm the one that gets stuck with a lot of this stuff because I don't mind talking about it or giving insight, but I'm like,
well,
golly.
but you've done something here that's important, and you also do this. So I want people to know that you should be known for this too, where you're not trying to crush people. Like, certainly you want things to be correct, accurate, and context and all that, but you're the person that will remind anyone very quickly you're one of one. You have a story, and it's not up to you or me to decide the validity of that story. And then we get into those areas where, well, yeah, I've got an opinion, but then we might have to remind ourselves, but wait a minute, somebody's worked on something, they've done something. How many people write books, not even in maintenance, but in anything, that are books, they're stories, they offer learning and challenge thinking, and they might be fiction, they might be not fiction, nonfiction. And that's a pretty big accomplishment for somebody to actually write a book if it's a substantial kind of undertaking, right? So we're not here to beat anybody up. I just wanted to have a little bit of fun with, how I like to beat up on
Well,
buzzwords.
but anybody can write a book, right? Just because you write a book, it doesn't make you an expert either.
True.
Because a lot of the books that, especially in this space, a lot of the books that you read are regurgitations of other people's material, which that's kind of how we all learn anyway, right? It's like, things in the maintenance space, for the most part, it's not original. It's been around forever, So if I write a book on planning and scheduling, my book isn't going to, I'll share a different perspective, but the concepts, the principles, and all that stuff are what they are. My problem is when you take those things and try to make them something they're not, or create new terms that don't exist for things that aren't legit, and then people grab those, and now I'm combating some of those things. Like,
Right.
we're kind of
Because
making jokes about it the other night. It's like, next thing you know, we're going to have predestinated maintenance. Right. It's going to be predetermined before the foundations of the world what your maintenance strategy is going to be. Like, at this point, we just keep adding these terms on. It's like, no, there's condition-based inspections, there's time-based replacements, there's failure finding tasks. Like, all these things exist, but we just keep taking the same old thing and trying to repackage it to be cool. And that's just creating confusion.
yeah.
And that's the part that I have a problem with. It's not the fact that we can't be innovative and come up with, maybe there is a new way to do maintenance or whatever. I get it, and I'm open to that, but taking the same thing and trying to rename it for your own benefit is where I have a problem. Like, let's use a standard language.
Well, that's where I'm at with this whole thing, because on one hand, I like the idea and the concept and the way it can be presented. But on the other hand, when I look at in this particular piece I'm talking about, and I don't want to call anybody out by name, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I respect what people do, but it just brought all these questions into my mind where it's like, well, are you really connecting this to maintenance maturity levels, or are you connecting this to an opinion that is taking terms and repurposing them and adding a number, and it's not a real thing? That's where I was going with it.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, at the same time, you'll be talking about wanting to standardize and get everybody standardized under the same thing, but yet you're creating new terms for terms that already exist, and we have standard language for it. And so you're just creating confusion. Now, if it's something new and we need a new term for it, I'm all for it, right? But taking things that already exist and making up a new term for it, and then the same guys talking about we need to be standardized. It's like, how, standardized by your opinion or standardized by what is already standard in the industry? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I guess I have a problem. It's not that I have a problem with it. It's just, at this point, it's not worth my energy. It's just like, whatever, man. Like, you know, I've got enough on my plate. It's not a battle I'm going to fight. I'll fight it in the plants when I'm out turning plants around while they're talking on social media.
Yeah.
I'll go make companies millions of dollars while they're talking about whatever on social media. Like, I just don't care, you know?
And you know, I'm being a little bit coy with like the language, the verbiage, and things used in the article because that'll be too obvious. And it's just, for me, I don't think there's going to be something that comes up tomorrow, next week, or next year where somebody goes, wow, we've been doing maintenance all wrong. I don't think that's a thing unless somebody
Oh, it's
invents.
definitely a thing, Greg. but I don't even want to go there, right? It's yeah, I don't want to go there.
It's okay. It's
That's
okay.
a whole
So
nother discussion. But
yeah, we're gonna figure out how to attack that in a healthy, productive, and ultra real way. But I want to kind of switch gears now. So we kind of touched on that, but you and the team at ReliabilityX have been extremely busy, and I've seen some great and rather new. I want to use the word innovative, like as far as the approach goes with the content that you're putting out, because you created a kind of a standalone type of content. And there've been a couple of posts, I think about 4 or 5 of them. And I want to see if you could just share with me and for the 2 people that might watch this, what that is and what it's really all about.
Well, it's about business acumen, right? So for a long time, I've said that that's been a gap. The problem is people don't know that it's a problem because they're really not aware of it. And so instead of me complaining about it, right, it's like, okay, well, let's bring awareness to it. And because it goes 2 ways, right? Like from the top down, the language is different, and from the shop floor up, right? I call it the value spine. So I wrote a book on business acumen. We've written 3 books. We're going to publish them very soon. I'm pushing to try to have them out by SMRP. At least 2 of the 3, if not the third. The third one, I'm getting hung up on some things, but I'm going to try to have 2 of the 3 out is my goal. I'm hoping to, but don't hold me to it, but I'm going to try. But I call it the value spine, and it's the shop floor language up to the plant level kind of metrics and converting that into the organizational objectives type language up into the C-suites type of language. And then it goes back down. So the reason it's called the value spine, it's like a bridge. One way you're going from shop floor up, the other way you're going from the C-suite down. Right. And so we have to, because some of the biggest frustrations you'll see in maintenance managers is they can't sell their business case. And a lot of times they'll do a lot of great work, look at the ROI on this project and blah, 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 but they're not really saying anything. All they're doing is offering an opportunity. Not to say that you shouldn't put a project together and all that. You got to follow your company's guidelines on putting a project together, right? So you want your ROIs, you want your MPVs, you want, all this stuff. But you have to also put it in a language that the decision makers can understand, right? And so it's not just, hey, we'll save 27 hours a month on this machine if we do this project, right? And so the ROI will be it saved us 27 hours of downtime, which equates to X, Y, and Z ROI over the next 2 years or whatever. It's like, that is true for your project, but if you want to get it approved, if I said, in order to, complete this project, this is going to bring us $5 million in EBITDA over the next year because of the throughputs that we'll gain due to doing this project. Right. That's completely different than saying I'll save, 27 hours a month, which equates to, this much throughput or whatever. Like, both of them are true. It's just that we're upping our language because we're understanding the business acumen. Right. And the other thing that I'm pushing is that reliability is a capital strategy. And the problem is we've always sold reliability as a maintenance thing, and it's this thing to do this, whatever. But in all honesty, it's a capital strategy. Let me give you an example. Just from our background with all of the manufacturing plants that we go into, a vast majority of the time, they have a whole entire plant worth of capacity that is sitting there untouched because they run so poorly. And it's not that they think they're running well. The problem is they don't understand the design rates of the line because, that was 10 engineers ago when we put this line in and all this stuff, right? So it's no fault of their own. It's just that's the norm. And they think that they're doing well, and they've lowered their design rate to what they would call a theoretical max of about half of what it was designed to do. And of that half, they're doing about 50 to 60% OEE on that half.
Wow.
And so then you walk in and you're like, you talk to OEMs, you make a lot of phone calls, a lot of contacts, or you talk to some people that have been there a while or whatever, and you realize, well, this constraint that they have, right, which is kind of the heartbeat of the line, is actually, for example, I'll give a simple example. Let's say it's designed to do 100 units a minute, but they've turned it down to 50 because they couldn't overcome all the issues it created when they ran that fast. And then 50 becomes the new quote unquote rate that this machine can run. And out of that 50, they're getting 35 units a minute because of all the other issues that exist, right? We see that a lot. And so there's this whole other hidden plant. And what ends up happening is because they think that they're capacity constrained because they don't understand what their lines are designed to run. They say, okay, well, then they get volume and they say, all right, we need to build another plant. And then they'll go build another plant. I'll give you an example. We had this, with the client. I'll leave out names and companies and kind of combine two clients together. So it's, no one really knows who it is, but
prediction.
Yeah. No.
I'm going to make a prediction.
Oh yeah, what's it?
Is this the 40 versus 1? 40 million versus 1 million?
Well, that's I can use that example too.
No, do the one you're going to do.
Well, no, I mean it's the same thing though, right? It's the same premise.
Yeah.
Is they wanted to build another plant for $40 million. Right? I mean, that's the same story I wrote about it, right?
Yeah.
They want to build the same plant for $40 million. So you're going to go, the reason the capital project gets improved is because we go through this formal process, list out all the ROI, what the NPV is, maybe a cost benefit, ratio type thing or whatever. And in 5 years, 3 to 5 years, we'll get our return on investment. Right? And it's like, well, I can set up a project in the same manner and go after that hidden plant for $1 million and set it up the same way. And your ROI would be like 2 months. You know what I mean? And now if you have the volume, we'll make sure that when you are capacity constrained, you have the metrics and things in place that will help you determine when you need to spend that capital to build another plant. So not only did they deferred $40 million for 5 years, we helped them open that capacity.
Yeah,
and then what they found is they didn't have a capacity issue; they had a volume issue.
So
because
when you,
sales and marketing, right? So sales and marketing sits up here and tells the C-suite, because they always have a seat at the table where we don't as plant staff, right? And they have a seat at the table, and the whole time they're pointing at the plant saying, we could sell it if the plant could produce it. We could sell it if the plant could produce it, right? And so what happens is when you open up a second plant inside of their own plant, you realize they couldn't really sell it. And so, what happened at this one particular plant is they ended up having to shut down third shift, which all they did was roll their guys into first and second shift. They didn't cut any headcount, but they didn't have to run on third shift, and they didn't have to run on weekends anymore. Right. And so, but that opens up a third shift and weekends for capacity if you need it.
right.
The problem is they didn't have the volume. So it really wasn't a volume, a capacity issue, it was a volume issue. The problem is you need someone that can come in and open that capacity, know how to get the improvement and how to sustain it in order for you to make it a volume issue. And the goal of a plant should be to put the pressure on the shoulders of sales and marketing. Right now, all the pressure is on the shoulders of the plant to produce.
Do you think this? So you gave this example of, leadership. This person, all these different people, they're there, and the people that know all this stuff was 10 engineers ago, or whatever the case may be. Is there a real value in succession planning as it relates to what have we done, and then every time we update it so that somebody coming in can know that? Or is that an exercise in futility in your opinion as well as experience?
Why do you think we're having issues in industry right now? It's because
they don't do that.
Right. And so now the stress of a CEO isn't just logistical issues and tariffs and all this other stuff. It's employee retainment. And then COVID, they lost a lot of their senior people. So all that tribal knowledge walked out and they weren't prepared for it. So that's added stress on the organization, especially on the shoulders of the CEO, because he's got to keep this thing afloat. And so succession planning is a great way to be prepared for that, so that when another event like this happens, at least we'll be a lot better off than we were this last time that it happened. Right.
Yeah.
And you've got boomers retiring, and they're still retiring. We're still going through that. And what are we doing to replace them? And what are we doing to capture tribal knowledge? And what are we, So that's, of course, that's a thing. That needs to be a thing.
Yeah. Well, and the Xers, the Gen Xers are right behind them because they're getting crushed by burnout and whatever else.
I'm a Gen Xer, so
I know.
I love what I do, man.
I am too. I keep thinking about this idea. We've talked about it before. I know we're kind of beating a dead horse, but I think it's important to talk about as often as we can, where the different people that are part of leadership that might have an opportunity to pick up on a succession plan that exists, they also might even not do that because that succession plan might not fit. They might not have the capability to carry forward the succession plan, and they want to kind of bury it so they can stick around for a couple of years and seem like they're doing something. Is that a real thing?
I guess it kind of depends. It depends, but I would say it's more, for whatever reason, we as humans, we want to do something more. So we get to this spot, and what we won't do is do anything that challenges the status quo, because we don't want to ruin our chances to get to the next spot. Right. And so that happens quite a bit. I'm not saying that happens all the time, but I know it happens quite a bit. And just because our natural tendency to want to improve and better ourselves and better our family, right? But that also makes you susceptible to not taking risks.
Yeah.
So in doing so, you focus inwardly on how can I save my job? But the extraordinary people, that's why it's called extraordinary, right, are the ones that are willing to take those risks, because if they do pay off, the sky's the limit, right? But again, this is why high performers end up leaving organizations.
Right, because they know they can't be high performers in that organization. They're stifled.
Right. And
they're not allowed to make the improvement.
Right. And so that's why we end up with organizations that don't have a lot of high performers, because they get flustered and they get, and so they're willing to take the risk, while there's other people that are, and it's no fault to their own. I mean, I want to better my family. I want to, you know what I mean? But it doesn't do anything for the high performer. And so, it kind of stagnates things.
Right. And then they're out in the world doing things where they can continue to be a high performer. They're going to have their own companies. So now they're no longer available
into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll spend time to develop a skill, and then they'll take that skill and start a business. That's why I'm saying, like, I get a lot of questions. Like, you know how it was, the question around the trades. Well, yeah, but I want my kids to have a college degree. You remember those questions? We were at, what was it, Reliable Plant?
Might have been.
I can't remember. It's one of the conferences where we did, I think it was SMRP last time.
You mean where we were on stage? That was at a Reliable Plant conference.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they were asking me about, you're saying that I shouldn't send my kids to college. It's like, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, you say we need trades, but you're raising your kids to go to college. And you think that if they go into the trades, there's no future for them. What I'm telling you is, if they go into the trades and they spend 5 to 10 years mastering that skill, then they move on to starting their own business, they're going to be 100 times better off than most people with a college degree.
Yeah.
Right. So there's an avenue. The thing is we limit ourselves to thinking, I don't want them just to be a plumber. And it's like, why? Like, you master the plumbing skills, you start a plumbing company, you hire more plumbers, right? Like, you continue to develop it, because the sky's the limit on your income at that point. Like, how many plumbing locations can I open, and how many service trucks can I get on the road? Like,
come on, man! I come from the janitorial industry, and I've seen it unfold. Off $400 turn into a multi-million-dollar company. It's the same.
So the likelihood of an entrepreneur that does that to become a multimillionaire versus someone that has a college degree, he's going to be hiring people that have college degrees to work for him to build up the business. And so it's like, I would rather be the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so, but we limit ourselves in thinking that I just don't want them to be an electrician or a plumber or whatever. It's like, man, the boring jobs are the ones that pay. And those are the industries where people are getting paid. And it's the trades.
And it's where we have the biggest gap. Right. As far as.
That's why it pays so well.
Yeah.
Can't find them. It's going to be, you're going to call a plumber out in the next 10 years, and it's going to be $2,000 an hour just to get him to come out. Like, it's going to be that bad. You know what I mean? Like, and people don't understand that.
Yeah. And you can, if you're worried about that, folks, you could actually go learn how to be a plumber and maintain the skill. You won't have to call them.
Well, it was kind of like the joke during COVID is go learn to code. Right. That was kind of a joke running around. It was a joke, but it wasn't. It's like, go learn to code, because AI's coming. And so the more you can learn to use those tools, it's going to put you head and shoulders above a lot of people that don't. I know people right now that if I teach them how to hold Control C and Control V just to copy and paste things in a Word document, they think I'm like amazing with technology. And it's like, guys, like, and those are going to be the people that are passed over because they have no skills. Because skills are going to become they're a commodity. They already are, but it's going to get a lot more competitive in the skills market. You got to have skills.
Yeah, it's
the days of running around, showing up with your laptop, and getting to hide in a corner in a massive corporation because their head count, they don't even know what you do all day, and shut your laptop and go home, and no one even knows you exist, and you got paid to do nothing. Those jobs are going to go away. It's going to be the people that are providing value to the organization through a skill set. Those are going to be the ones that keep their jobs, right? Because AI is going to take all that and streamline everything and make things more efficient. And I mean, it's going to happen whether we want it to or not.
Yeah, I mean, you can prepare for it or get passed up. And I think there's some people that would say, yeah, I'm not worried about it because of this and this. That's true sometimes too. We've got some dear friends that don't really have to worry about that. But guess what? Those people have very deep skill sets when it comes to all the things we like to talk about: maintenance, reliability, asset management, equipment repair, keeping things simple, but doing it like extremely well. And that's a license to print money. Mm-hmm. It really is. But you'll never find a way to get around doing the work. And another thing, and I think of you whenever I make comments online or anything about this idea of, we do these things like training and we go through and we learn and I talk to you, but if I don't do anything with it, mm-hmm. It's for nothing.
Knowledge hoarder. What's the point? Like, the reason you learn something is you go apply it, so you develop a skill. Like knowing, but we're all guilty of it, right? Every one of us are, in some aspect, we're all guilty of it. I know every diet known to man. I know what I need to do to exercise, right? So I'm just as much one of those types of people, but it's, but to then deem that would be like me deeming myself a fitness expert.
Yeah, just magically.
Because I know about every diet and I know about the exercises, but I don't do any of it. Right? And then I say, well, yeah, but I'm a fitness expert. Why don't you come to my next whatever, and then they see me and they see that I'm, 280 pounds.
Yeah, but I know what it is. It's Joe's weekend fitness retreat where we go to an exotic location and we all hang around and watch bees make honey.
Well, it's better, we eat a lot of pizza and do nothing. But, it's, I mean, it kind of all comes full circle, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, to close out, I took a shot. I was having a lot of fun with it. I didn't even look at it. I don't think anybody got in on it, but I tried to kind of invent like a term or like a complete nonsensical thing. And it was the CMRP. The fractional CMRP.
Oh, fraction.
And it's like, that's just not a thing. Never should be.
Because there's 5 domains, right? So if you learn one domain and get a certification in it, it could be a fractional CMRP.
But I mean, I maybe it could be a CMRP for hire, but a CMRP is not a title or a role.
Yeah, right.
It's a body of knowledge you know how to apply and leverage. Yeah. So I was having fun with it. I'm gonna make some more shit up too, because I'm starting to see everybody making shit up. So I'm gonna do it too. What's next on deck? Anything between now and SMRP, or just heads down doing the work? I know you guys got other stuff going on and
work, man. That's better. So
good stuff. Well, folks, if you stayed here this long, this man, Joe Anderson, and the ReliabilityX team, they are going to be at SMRP 2026, the annual conference. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina. Great place. There's going to be a really strong convergence of the people that are part of the syndicate. Joe's one of them, George Williams. A bunch of those cats are going to be there. We're going to have a bunch of fun stuff. They're going to bring the ReliabilityX recording rig that I get to use in the CMMS radio booth. And if you want to get to that event, I have a discount code that they were kind enough to give me. I don't get anything out of that other than getting people here to hang out with real deal pros that really know shit. The code is CMMSradio, all caps. Get yourself 10% off. We're going to do a bunch of fun stuff there. I'll have a booth. I'll be doing a bunch of recording, and there will be periodic visits by this man and a couple other ones, topical treatments of things that matter in maintenance, reliability. we'll get some of this business acumen stuff going on too if I can get anybody to make an announcement. I can't wait to see you and all of our friends there at SMRP, Joe.
I look forward to it, man.
Thanks for being on CMMS Radio yet again.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me.
You got it. Did you find this episode helpful? Please send us some feedback, suggest a topic, or ask a question. Reach out to CMMS Radio if you need a co-pilot on your CMMS project. Visit CMMSradio.com and use the What's on Your Mind link. Thank you for tuning in to CMMS Radio, your resource for all things CMMS, from selection to implementation, to help you make better choices, learn from industry experts, and have a successful CMMS journey.